This is people and everything that they brought to the neighborhood.
And like people, the reason as to why New York has so much like culture is because of that. But it's like, bro, people want to come to New York. People want to be New Yorkers. And a huge reason of that is that culture that you're talking about. And a lot of that culture, that New York culture, comes from black people as well. I mean, I even think like, you know, the only Renaissance in American history is the Harlem Renaissance. Don't let that go over your head. The only Renaissance in American history is the Harlem Renaissance, and it's not even widely spoken about as much anymore. And a lot of that history is kind of waning.
Yeah, and it's even crazier. You just asked, like, what are the numbers now, right? You know, we're in the middle of the third decade of the century, right? So in 5 years, you know, when the census comes out again, people are going to have to fill out forms. I'm hoping when the data comes out in 2031 that another 50, 60, 70,000 black people have left the city again. This is a black exodus, and I think we need to be very intentional about, you know, our policy decisions, what we do to protect this population of people. So
dang. So I guess speaking about the upcoming election, how do you feel about Jerrell? Because I mean, he's destined to win. It's been looking by the numbers.
That's my guy, point blank period. It's not over. You know, make sure you get registered to vote. I think tomorrow is the last day to get registered to vote, and you know, early voting starts I think October 25th. So yeah, I think he's a guy to do it, point blank period. That's my guy. I met him in May earlier this year.
Why though?
Why? I think you know, earlier you asked me about what are some of the qualities that I care about, and I think, you know, I think he's someone who listens, right? Almost a year ago when he started his campaign, one of the first things that he did was interview immigrant working class people from different boroughs about why they ended up voting for Trump. And, you know, people spoke about, you know, the genocide in Palestine was one of them, and, you know, rising grocery costs, right? Like, that's why they ended up voting for Trump, and Trump really manipulated people like, oh, your eggs is expensive, XYZ. But people take heed to that. So I think he's someone who actually listened, and that's why his policy proposal is like, all right, grocery stores, right? People complain about groceries, so I'm going to bring in, you know, grocery stores, five in New York City, one in each borough. I talked about freezing the rent for people, right? Giving immediate relief to some of the most, you know, low-income people in the city, and amongst other things. So I think he listens. I think he has a level of discernment to listen to people, which is why he ran such a great campaign. I think he has the courage to go against the status quo, right? And the people with special interest that's been spending millions of dollars to thwart his campaign, and he continuously overcame that. And I think there's a level of integrity that, you know, we haven't seen in a while, right? We have Eric Adams, who, you know, was indicted, Andrew Cuomo, was, you know, accused, charged sexual harassment, sexual assault, amongst other scandals, right? I think Zoran brings a younger, fresh new face that people actually trust, and he went and he knocked on people's doors as well.